Hello friends, welcome to the MCQ session on esophagus. Most common type of hiatus hernia is, this is a straightforward question where hiatus hernia most common type is sliding type, which is seen in 70% of patients. There are four types of hiatus hernia, that is type 1, that is sliding hernia, which is seen in 70% of individuals. There are four types of hiatus hernia. Type 1 is sliding hernia, which is most commonly seen in 70% of individuals. Type 2 is paraesophageal or rolling hernia. Type 3 is mixed hernia. Or type 4 type 3 is mixed hernia, that is both sliding and paraesophageal or rolling hernia is seen together, whereas type 4 you see hernia most commonly along with herniation of other structures like stomach, colon, spleen, pancreas and others. Next, in corrosive injury of esophagus, true statement is, in corrosive injury of esophagus, we will see the true statement is all except. So you should find out the false statement. First, alkalis are consumed in large amounts in corrosive injuries. Yes, true. Why? Because alkali is colorless, odorless and hence patient drinks in large quantities. Then the next statement, alkali causes more gastric damage. True, because alkalis causes liquefactive necrosis. They digest the tissues, so they can penetrate into deeper tissues when compared to they can penetrate the deeper tissues when compared to acid. But if you see the gastric damage is mostly in acids. Normally, alkalis cause more damage to the structures because of their penetration through with the help of liquefactive necrosis. But here, acids cause more gastric damage when compared to alkalis, because acids cause pylorospasm or pooling of acid in antrum is recorded. That will lead to more gastric damage than in alkalis. Alkalis form a fibrous scar. True, they cause liquefactive necrosis and thrombosis of vessels, and finally they will progress to scar formation. Acids form eschar formation. Yes, acids form eschar formation. Then, which artery is involved in dysphagia lusoria most commonly? This is a one-liner. Dysphagia lusoria most commonly involves aberrant right subclavian artery. So it's not right thyroid artery, it is aberrant right subclavian artery. Then 40-year-old male with dysphagia of solids and liquids with symptoms of regurgitation, chest pain and weight loss is seen. Which of the following is the preferred investigation to diagnose this disorder? So if you see, this is a patient of 40 years male with dysphagia, and there is regurgitation and chest pain and there is weight loss. So it will show we have to suspect malignancy. But weight loss can be seen in malignancy and also in achalasia cardia. Here there is regurgitation. In malignancy, you will not see the symptom of regurgitation. So regurgitation, chest pain with dysphagia, it points towards the achalasia cardia. But for this, you will have to do barium swallow, X-ray and manometry only. Because here, because of this chest pain and weight loss, though weight loss points towards the though weight loss points towards the malignancy, but weight loss associated with regurgitation and chest pain, most commonly it is achalasia cardia. So in achalasia cardia, we have to do barium swallow to see the shape of the esophagus. You see bird beak appearance. You can do X-ray, okay, and you will do manometry to find out the lower esophageal sphincter pressure. And manometry is actually the investigation of choice for achalasia cardia. This endoscopy in this option is done whenever we suspect carcinoma. We do endoscopy to rule out the carcinoma esophagus. Next question. During 24-hour pH manometry of GERD, the level of pH considered for study of reflexed fluid is, okay, when do you do, what is the level of pH that is considered for studying reflex fluid is, it is one liner, that is less than 4. During 24-hour pH manometry of GERD, less than 4, pH less than 4 is considered for study of reflexed fluids. Then during 24-hour pH manometry, the GERD level of pH considered for study of reflexed fluid is if pH is less than 4. Then we have false about Borjeev syndrome is. So we will see the statements of Borjeev syndrome. First, perforation due to barotrauma. Yes, Borjeev syndrome occurs due to perforation of barotrauma. Most common site is left posteromedial aspect of lower esophagus. True, Borjeev syndrome occurs most commonly due to left posteromedial aspect of lower esophagus. Pain is the late manifestation. No, in Borjeev syndrome, pain is not the late manifestation. It is actually the first manifestation where the patient develops pain, hematemesis, chest pain and hematemesis. Most cases follow bouts of heavy eating and drinking. True. Okay, so this is about MCQ session. Thank you for watching my lecture. Thank you.